Hari Om, Om Shanti. Welcome to this divine filming of application of Bhagavad Gita and getting to know the wisdom through which we can realize ourselves and realize the Paramatman for eventually getting to his abode in any Janma or in this Janma or in this birth. So, in today's divine session, I would like to focus on the different worlds in a universe. And let's talk about the Srishti, the creation of this cosmos and the multi universes and the multi solar systems, multi galaxies the Lord Himself creates, maintains, and annihilates from time to time. In every universe, the 14 lokas, and the 14 lokas, seven of them were above the earth, that means including earth, and seven below the earth plane of existence called naraks. So let's learn the various names, the various names of the 14 worlds. Just a minute, please. Yeah. So right above the earth we have six lokas, including earth, seven lokas. Number one is Bhu, Bhuvar, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapaha, and Satyalok. In Satyalok, Lord Brahma resides on the lotus flower, passionately creating this world under the dominion of Lord Vishnu. And then below earth, there are seven other lokas which are called Naraks: Tala, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, and Patala. All the dwellers of all these 14 lokas, they are subject to the death and rebirth cycle. So, when it comes to avoiding this rebirth and death, one needs to realize one's own truth, the nature, and the truth of Paramatman one has to learn. Then only it is possible to avoid the cycle of rebirth and death. अब्रह्मभुवनाल्लोकाः पुनरावर्तिनोऽर्जुन अब्रह्मभुवनाल्लोकाः पुनरावर्तिनोऽर्जुन मामुपेत्य तु कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते मामुपेत्य तु कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते ए, ए, Lord Krishna says that through this stanza, that in this world there's seven, in this universe rather, seven lokas, and all the way up to the Satyalok. Even Brahma cannot escape the cycle of death and birth, rebirth. He does go away, and other new Brahma is installed by Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna after 311 trillion and 40 billion years. So does Indra also gets installed when he dies in his Swargalok, in his heavens, who rules over demigods and goddesses and administering the world, the rain, the fire, the wind, the water, all of them are administered under the dominion of Indra. He assigns work to the fire god, the god of rain, the god of wind, etc. But you see, even Indra cannot escape the cycle of rebirth and death. मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालय मशाश्वतम् मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्म दुःखालय मशाश्वतम् नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गताः संसिद्धिं परमां गताः आ, आ. What does Lord Krishna say through this stanza from Bhagavad Gita? He says that having attained me, the great souls are no more subject to rebirth and redeath in this world, which is transient and full of misery, because they have attained the highest perfection. They knew their true nature. They knew the true nature of the Paramatman, and they completely, perfectly absorb in my consciousness. That's how they will never go back to the plane of existence where modifications are done from time to time and life is impermanent and it is perishable. So, herein, I would like to mention about Indra, who is the ruler of Swargalok, and he assigns all the work to different demigods and demigoddesses. But you see, you know very well about Indra, always gets into trouble, and he pretends that he learned a lesson from various incarnations of the Lord, but he does not, in fact. His character is like placing a tail of a dog in a straight pipe for many years, never gets straightened. His character is such, always gets into trouble, gets cursed by sages, and Lord always subdues his senses and subdues his pride and his ego. In spite of that, he gets into trouble. And you see how he gets reborn as an ant. Once Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, visits Indra when Vishwakarma, the universal architect, was working for Indra building a palace. And then Vishwakarma gets tired and then he calls on, he just remembers the Lord, and Lord appears. The Lord asks Indra as to how long have you been employing this Vishwakarma to build a palace for you? He says, just a few months and it will be done soon. And he says, no, there are multi-universes in this cosmos. Then multi-Vishwakarmas and multi-Indras and Brahmas are there. But Indra did not know this fact. And then all of a sudden, a queue of ants appear coming toward them. And Indra asks the Lord how come these ants are coming toward us? They are not the ants, they are you actually. Many Indras before, they all died and they became ants. You are also going to become an ant because of your character, your karma. There is no escape for you. This is how he goes down at the moment, as if he learned a lesson and he was not going to do again. But you see, he did it many times. And then, Sage Lomesh visits Indra with his disciples, carrying a mat on his head. And then Indra asks him as to why you are carrying. He says that, I do not need a permanent house since life is impermanent. Death is going to come and we are going to be reborn again. That's how I don't need any permanent house. So he understands that life is impermanent, even in his plane of existence, pretends like he learned a lesson from the sage. And then once Lord Vishnu suggests that in order to defeat a demon like Vritrasura, who wreaked havoc on the plane of earth, subjecting all the people to many troubles and also withholding all the water for himself, causing drought everywhere. And then Lord Vishnu himself suggests Indra to make a weapon out of the bones of sage Dadichi, and he does it. And then he defeats that demon to rule over Swargalok again, re-establishing himself as the ruler of gods, demigods, and goddesses. You remember this incident where in Treta Yuga, Indra lures and seduces Ahalya, the wife of Gautama, when he was out for a dip in the river. Early in the morning, he disguises himself as Gautama to seduce her, having a physical relationship, and he did. And then he gets cursed by sage Gautama to lose his manlyhood, and he does. And he gets cursed also to have 1,000 eyes resembling the female organ all over his body. See, that's a curse. He gets it. But he himself sees all over his body. Other people will not be able to see. They're not able to see all those eyes, eye structured female organ. And this is how Indra also never learns a lesson. He always pretends and he gets into the cycle of rebirth and death. So imagine all the human beings who have the veil of ignorance upon their Atma. It's like eclipse. The ignorant layer eclipses your Atma, and you will never come to know your true nature, as you are the part and parcel of the Paramatman himself. And that's how getting lured by the Maya, the worldly subjects and objects, that's how they revolve in the cycle of rebirth and death. So, only way to avoid all this is to seek 100% shelter of Lord Krishna and worship Him, devote yourself 100% to Him with loving devotion. Then only through sadhana of many years you get His grace, and then realize your ultimate goal of serving at the lotus feet of the Lord. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः आ If you cannot do anything, just express yourself and then seek his shelter 100% with great devotion, and he will come to your rescue. He will bestow his divine grace so that all your miseries will be gone, all your sins will be gone, they will become zero, no karmic reaction in your account. That's how you can get liberated, through him, through his grace. Om Shanti. Greetings to all again. Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. I hope that you learned something from this divine filming as to how Indra behaves and how Lord Brahma also cannot escape the cycle of rebirth and death. Every Brahma dies after 311 trillion and 40 billion years. And the only way to escape this process is to seek his shelter. Do not do anything. But you see, all these things you have to do after fulfilling your responsibilities, your karma, that without attaching yourself to the fruits of your actions. Nishkama karma. It has to be driven by the interest of serving other people, for the welfare of the other people, for the pleasure of the God. If you work, then you are on the right path, that spiritual path, while fulfilling your material responsibilities. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Govardhanaya Namaha. Govindaya Namaha. Krishnaya Namaha. Damodaraya Namaha. With another divine filming in the days to come. Swasti.